Okay, very happy to be joined by one of the top fighters coming out of the Canadian scene who's going to be looking to make his mark on episode one of Dana White's Contender series this week or this year, in just a few days now, looking to kick off the season with a bang. Radley Da Silva. Radley, how you doing, man?
Good, brother. Good. Thanks for having me on.
Like I say, huge fight just a few days away now. How has the preparation been for this one? Has it been business as usual, or has it been perhaps a bit more intense due to the opportunity that's at hand here?
It's been business as usual, but business as usual is always intense when you have a fight
Yeah.
coming up and you're getting ready to, fight another human on live television in front of your friends and family in the world. It should always be somewhat intense. So, but this one's been a little longer than most of them because I got notice of the fight quite a bit away. So it was just more strategically planning so I don't, overdo it too early and can kind of peak at the right time. So luckily I was able to do that. And yeah, like you said, we're like, almost a week away. And yeah, I couldn't be more ready, more excited to be done with all of this crazy training camp stuff and get in there and do the fun part.
How early did you find out? Because I noticed this year that a lot of the names for the contenders seem to be coming out really early this year as well. Like so I saw some names sort of like February, March time, and I mean the fights aren't until August at the earliest. So when did you find out?
I've known since like March, since like
Yeah.
mid March. So it's been a while. And yeah, you're right. A lot of the news reporters for MMA, they like knew right away. I don't even know how they have like a bunch of ways to find out, but it's pretty awesome. The whole time I knew I was trying to keep low profile about it because I know the UFC
Yeah.
likes to promote their fights and contender series themselves. So let them do use their big marketing machine and let them promote it.
Yeah, of course. And I know obviously this is a shot that you've been calling for a while. I think it was after the Drake Randall fight that which was nearly a year ago now, that you were looking for that shot originally. Obviously, I think a lot of people will have seen that finish. It's definitely one where you kind of made your mark. Um, how did the opportunity? How was the opportunity for the Contender Series presented to you back in March? Um,
Just a phone call, man. The promoter, I guess, of Battlefield just let me know that
yeah,
Sean and them wanted me to get on the contender series. They even had an opponent and everything, a date, and they told me there wasn't even a question of, hey, do you want to take this fight? It's just like, hey, this is what's happening because we all know
yeah,
that when you get an opportunity like that, you take it. And yeah, I was super hyped. I was in Las Vegas in a hotel room actually because I was cornering one of my teammates in Vegas. So I was in the hotel room and I got the call and I was like, super excited and all that and just started thinking about how I'm gonna go about doing this long training camp because it was like 5 months away and how I'm gonna kind of schedule my training. So that was about it.
yeah. Like we say, obviously, I want to talk about that Drake Randall finish. Obviously, it's one of the cleanest spinning wheel kicks you're ever going to see. I think it's what a lot of people are going to know you for. Um, did you notice an increase in attention on you because of that? Because it definitely seemed to put your name out there in terms of putting the fan base on notice. Did you notice a lot of added attention on you? Maybe in regards to putting the word out to the UFC as well.
For sure, man. I mean, the UFC is always looking for the most exciting prospects out there, right? So,
Yeah.
to get a finish like that, it definitely did the job of getting my name noticed by, the higher ups and stuff like that. And I'm grateful for it. And, it's something that I always knew I was capable of. And so did my family and everyone around me. Um, but yeah, it was a very initial, like a lot of attention, and all that attention basically got me on the radar of the UFC and stuff. So I'm super grateful for it, like super happy. But as I've told a lot of people, like, I was like, and when it happened, I was stoked and stuff. But by the time I was out of the arena, I was like already over it. I see so much because I know I have so much higher like heights to reach, and having a cool knockout on the regional scene isn't really what where I'm gonna like lay my hat and be like, yeah, I
Yeah,
did it,
that's not
right?
that's
So
not that's not the peak. Yeah.
yeah, no, not at all. I was just super happy to get the attention, and it was exactly what you need to do to set yourself apart from all the other prospects around the world. Is get something that's going to get everybody talking. So it did exactly that, and yeah, you're right. I did notice a lot of attention from it.
And of course, being on the Contender series, that's a lot more eyeballs that are going to be on you. There's going to be people watching this fight that haven't seen you fight before. So, how would you describe yourself to someone who hasn't seen you fight before?
Just a very, different type of striking, like very dynamic, a really good mix of capoeira like movement with traditional kickboxing. Very, very fluid on the feet, very explosive, very athletic, and at the same time, very, very strong on the ground. A lot of experience. I've been grappling since I was 8, 9 years old. So well over 20 years of experience. And, to put that all together on top of having a really good fight IQ and a gas tank to go 5 rounds, as I've shown, it's just a very hard stylistic matchup for anyone. So, but bringing that all together into a setting like Contender Series where people like to see exciting things, it's inevitable. I don't need to force anything. I'm just naturally a very exciting fighter, just by nature of my style.
You mentioned capoeira there. Is that something you had a background in prior to MMA, or is that something you kind of incorporated just as an MMA fighter?
No, that was the only background I had prior to MMA and stuff. I just grew up doing it. My whole family does it. My father, uh, cousins, everyone, all the males, they basically all do capoeira. So I grew up doing it since I was a little kid. Like, and I basically did that throughout my life until I finally transitioned to just pure wrestling. So when I was like 14, I started doing wrestling, freestyle wrestling, and I stopped doing capoeira and focused just on wrestling. And then I went to Muay Thai and then MMA, and I kind of just went on from there. But my whole base is capoeira. That you'll notice the difference from my stand up and all that is because of capoeira. So it gave me all the cool attributes, like all the flexibility and the flow and the movement and kicks and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, capoeira is it's so fun to just watch these like true capoeira practitioners, and we don't see a lot in MMA, of course, but because it is quite unique. But it's definitely an interesting stylistic mix you have there, especially since you say you're going hard on wrestling as well. And it's kind of the perfect mix to kind of when you're on the Contender series, it's a show based around like what can I do to stand out. Capoeira stands out. I mean, we saw it in that knockout, but in just the unique movements and things, it's something I find really interesting and fascinating.
Yeah, there's actually quite a bit of been quite a bit of capoeira like practitioners in the UFC, and all of them all are known for being exciting, like all of them. So even I think this weekend, just like yesterday, Eliseo Zaleski fought Neil
Yes,
Magny.
yeah,
He's always bringing a crazy fight. Like he's always has
yeah,
exciting fights. Guys like Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo. All of them had background in capoeira. So in the UFC, capoeira has a really good name because all the fighters, no, all of them are exciting. So it just brings a good base to have to entertain the crowd. You're definitely an entertainer.
definitely. Like you say, all those guys you mentioned, very entertaining. Um, George Mangos is the opponent this time. Obviously, a very hyped prospect out of Australia. He's a young guy as well, but someone that's impressed a lot of people. Obviously, to get this opportunity. What are your thoughts on what you've seen from him and what he brings across the cage from you?
Yeah, he's a well-rounded MMA fighter for sure. Young. He's got a lot going for him, and I already knew of him even before I got
Yeah,
called because I always keep an eye out around the world for the best prospects in every country because sorry about that, because I know I could be fighting the best from any country at any time, right? So I already, as soon as I got word of my opponent, I was so excited, like I was stoked because I'm like, dang, that's actually an amazing fight to put together. The two best prospects from each country, from Canada versus Australia, and yeah, I see a lot of good things coming out of him, and I don't doubt that eventually he'll be in the UFC doing his thing. But it's just right now is not the time.
Yeah, like you say, a real standout guy from Canada versus a real standout guy from Australia. It's one of the fights that's most fascinating to me in these early weeks of the Contender Series, that's for sure. The matchup as well. Yeah, how do you see the two of you matching up stylistically? Obviously, you say he's a well-rounded guy, you're a well-rounded guy. How do you kind of see that clashing in the cage?
Yeah, I expect fireworks, man. It's gonna be a great fight. I don't see it not being one of the best fights of the night, and definitely one of the most anticipated ones from what I can see, all the engagement online and stuff like that. But yeah, there's definitely some stylistic advantages I definitely feel I have, even with me being in my physical prime, my mental prime, going through everything I've gone through, having the just amount of years of experience over him in certain martial arts as well. And yeah, I plan to use everything, man. My fight IQ, I've gone 5 rounds. Most of my fights have been championship as of his, but I think there's definitely some physical attributes, athleticism, you know, explosiveness that I definitely have over him, and obviously technical things that I don't want to mention here. But I really love the matchup and very excited for it. And yeah, when I heard about it, I already almost knew exactly how to go about the fight just because I
Yeah.
watch everybody and I understand the style. I've been a student of the game since I was like, 9 years old, watching Stephen Bonner, Forrest Griffin on the Ultimate Fighter finale. I've religiously watched mixed martial arts on my free time, and add all those things together, the physical attributes, the decades of training, and the IQ and the mental edge that I definitely feel I have. It's going to be a very hard night for anybody.
That's interesting you say that because obviously, so many fighters who are like, I don't watch, my corners watch. They don't even like. They're so focused on themselves, they don't watch other fights, and it's so important to watch because then you see what's around you, but also there's so much you can learn from that. And it's crazy to me that so many MMA fighters seem to pride themselves on like not really watching the sport sometimes.
Yeah, it's like having a job and being good at it, but never studying or like adding more to your game. Like every week I watch something and I learn something and I pick something up, even if it be strategies or how certain physical attributes, just watching two humans fight and seeing how one could be very skilled, the other one could be more physically talented, and how certain physical and technical attributes match up against each other. So it's just kind of like, I don't have to go in there and fight every week when I could learn these things by watching other people do it. So it's invaluable knowledge that I get, and I definitely helps my game. If you watch me fight, I'm not the type of guy to go out there and lose minutes and lose rounds. I'm going in there doing the most strategically viable thing at the time because of the fight IQ I've acquired through all the years of watching MMA. So it's definitely, yeah, something that I take into every fight, and it's one of my strongest attributes.
Yeah, of course. And it has been since January since we last saw you. For obviously, you mentioned that you got the contenders call very early, so you've had a lot of time prepping for that. What is going to be different about the Radley Da Silva stepping into the cage next week, versus the development been seen?
Yeah, if you've watched just the run I've been on the last 2 years, you can see a major growth in every one because, like I said before, I had only 3 fights and I hadn't fought in 4 or 5 years. So huge long layoff, and then you see me start fighting, and each time I fight, I got more comfortable. Just yeah, more comfortable. The comfort level is everything, right? If I could perform the way I do in the gym in every fight, I have no doubt that I could be a world champion in the UFC. But it's about having that comfort in there. And I'm one of those guys that I've been performing in front of crowds since I was 5 years old. So just to have that, uh, the time in the cage has been everything for me. So each time I get more comfortable out there, looser, and it just adds to my style because I'm a loose, very flow fighter, and I'm in the moment. So I'm very creative. So it just lets me be more creative and show a bit more of myself each time that I go in there.
Of course. Although we say it has been a little while since we've seen you in the cage, a place some people might have seen your movements or heard your voice is EA UFC. Um, I heard you did a lot of work with them. Obviously, you're based in Vancouver, they're based in Vancouver. It makes sense. How did that come about, and what was that like working with them?
Yeah, definitely. It's crazy working with them. It's obviously every kid's dream come true to like, hear yourself and see yourself moving in the game and knowing like, wow, that's me in the game. And it's every kid's dream really. And to be doing it in a game like UFC, which is like, something that I actually do. Yeah, I couldn't have been like a better matchup. But yeah, I got together with them because like the Vancouver martial arts community is very tight knit. Everybody knows everyone. So, as well as my other job on the side, as I work in film and movies. So, do a bit of acting, mostly stunts, and it kind of goes one in one. I'm a fighter, I'm an actor. They need people to be a fighter and actor, and it kind of just came together. And luckily, I knew the right people, and they gave me an opportunity to go in there and kind of show what I could do. And it's been years now that we've been working together, and they clearly appreciate the talent that I bring. And yeah, I'm so super blessed to be working in a position like that for sure.
Yeah, it just means you'll have the super authentic movements when you get signed to the UFC and then you're eventually in the game, so it'll just be perfect.
Yeah, that's what we always talk about. It's like, oh, when are you gonna make it into the game? So get in there in the UFC so you can do your own movements and stuff. So yeah, it's something we've always been thinking about forever. And it's even funny if you like play the career mode in the UFC, like you see the guy go through the regional scene and then he gets on the contenders and then he starts fighting his way up the rankings and becomes a champion. So it's crazy to like live that out virtually, kind of like, you know what I mean, act that all out and then slowly be able to like live it in real life. So it's kind of was like a rehearsal for what I'm doing in real life here. So each fight at a time is pretty awesome.
Of course, of course. You mentioned the stunt work though. I just want to touch on that because I mean, I go on your Instagram, I see you've got that really nice headshot on your profile picture. I'm like, this guy knows what he's doing. It looks like perfect. Um, yeah. So, how much stunt work are you doing now? The further you progress into your MMA career, is that still something you're very active in, or have you, as you get closer and closer to the UFC, is that something that's had to kind of step back a little bit?
Yeah, when I'm like closer to fight, I definitely like, wean off doing like any work or anything too crazy. Like I could still work because sometimes you're not always jumping off a building and lighting yourself on fire each time, right? Sometimes there's minimal stuff and then I can do that, but anything crazy I wouldn't want to risk, hurting myself right before a fight. But yeah, definitely, man. Stunt work is like I say, it's the best part-time job in the world. You know what I mean? You're just lucky to be able to get a call sometimes and go do something really cool that you'll be able to look back on and be like, wow, I did that. And it's definitely something I still want to do, even if I'm in the UFC, because I don't want to completely let go of that if I don't need to. It's something that requires me to be in shape mentally, physically, and be able to perform under pressure. And those are all things that you do in the cage anyway. So it kind of goes hand in hand together. And as long as I'm not, hurting myself, I can keep as safe as I possibly can. Like I'm gonna be doing that until the wheels fall off for sure.
Who's the most famous person you've worked with on a movie set?
Um, probably Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll keep that under wraps, but it was cool seeing him for a bit. I'll release some stuff when I can, but yeah, probably him. I mean, you know, there's lots of cool action stars and stuff that you brush shoulders with, but yeah, he's definitely one of the big names for sure.
I mean, he's technically like he's on the board of directors at TKO now, obviously mainly on the WWE side, but he's involved. You could put in the word. He could have got you in that spot sooner.
No, no, when more stuff comes out, I'll
Yeah.
call my shot. And when more stuff comes out and I make my debut in the UFC, I'll definitely call my shot for some cool stuff. But that's to be announced.
Yeah, of course. I'm not going to press you too much on that. I can tell it's
Yeah,
something you're not able to talk about just
yeah,
yet. So, I
yes,
mean,
sir.
I'll look out for it when it comes out. Yeah, I got a bit of a quick fire segment here, so I'm just gonna throw some things at you. Favorite food?
Oh, why you do me like that? Oh
I know.
man,
I always like,
I'm
should I ask
starving
this
right
after
now. I'm
this or I?
starving right now. You guys, favorite food. I'm a sweets guy, so any Brazilian cakes I really like, man. I'm a very like condensed milk, sugary type of dude. So I like desserts. But if I was to say anything savory, probably like a good barbecue, like a good like beef rib or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure you can find a good place in Vegas for after the fight to
For
go have
sure.
something.
Oh, I got a
Um,
list going already.
yeah. Favorite drink?
You know what? I've really been liking just like because I'm in obviously that mode right now. I've been really
Yeah,
liking just like a good watermelon juice with some coconut water in it, with cucumber, mint, and lime. Like, oh man, that stuff is like amazing right now. And I probably drink it even off diet, but yeah, I don't drink any alcohol or anything like that. So I'm a really big fruit juice guy. So definitely like the juice I just said is great, full of electrolytes, and I like passion fruit juice. They call it maracujá in Portuguese, and I love that stuff, man.
what's your go-to breakfast during camp?
Just the tried and true, man. Eggs, little
Yeah,
Ezekiel toast, maybe some no fat Greek yogurt with some fruits, a little bit of honey, granola, like very just very minimal, and some electrolytes and multivitamins on the side.
of course, of course. That's it for the food ones. You can like breathe a bit now.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I have to keep thinking here. It makes me stutter. I'm just like lose track of what's going on.
What's your favorite movie?
It probably have to be like a comedy or like a. I really like Tropic Thunder, like something like that. Tropic Thunder, maybe like other guys. Like I like the old school like comedies from like the 2000s, 2010s and stuff like that.
I'm with you on that totally. That's my kind of stuff too.
Yeah, they don't make them like that anymore, but I love that. Like, Dodgeball, like any Ben Stiller, Will Ferrell, like all those guys back in the day. I really like those comedy movies.
Yeah, I still need to watch Happy Gilmore too. I haven't watched it yet.
Ah, yeah, I'll let you do that.
Have you seen it?
From some of it, it's
Yeah,
hard staying awake nowadays when you're so tired. But I
of
just
course,
follow,
of
yeah,
course.
I watched some of it.
Favorite TV show?
Probably good old like I haven't watched TV shows that much, but I had Dragon Ball Z, freaking, uh, you know, like animes and South Park and a lot of cartoon stuff. I wasn't big on the live action TV shows. Sometimes they take a
Yeah.
lot of time, but yeah, mostly like animes and cartoons and stuff like that.
Favorite musician?
Probably Lil B, the bass god. He's the only one that comes to mind right now. Like, there's so many, in the mainstream of music, there's so many names that come up, obviously, but he always just sticks out in my head because growing up, I used to listen to him a lot, and he was just fun and hilarious. And
Yeah.
and if you know now, he's like has a lot of pop culture references, like the word bass. Like everyone's like, "Oh, that's so
Yeah.
bass, man!" Like that comes from him. So yeah, he's definitely one of my favorite artists still. I don't listen to him as much, but just like as an artist, I really liked
Favorite sport other than MMA?
him. That's a hard one. I like esports. I watch a lot of Dota.
Yeah.
A lot of Dota too. A lot of esports stuff. I'm not the greatest anymore because I don't have time to play it, but it's always fun watching the best in the world play it. And then if I was gonna say a regular sport, probably probably basketball or soccer. But I
Yeah.
watch everything, man. I watch ping pong sometimes. Like I just like watching the best compete against the best.
Any favorite teams?
No, I'm not necessarily a big like, oh, this one team has
Yeah.
to win. Whoever is doing the best, who has like the best player, who's making the biggest waves at the time, is kind of who I like to tune into. But Yeah, all the players, all the teams with like the big players, like LA, I like watching.
Yeah.
Obviously, OKC's gotten pretty good. Any team with like the big names on it is always fun to watch.
Yeah, I'm a Seattle sports fan, so don't mention OKC here, okay?
Oh, my bad.
We're still salty. I mean, I'm from the UK, but Seattle, that's where my US sports allegiance lies.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah, up close to you. Yeah. What is your favorite fight? So, a favorite fight to watch, and then one of your own as well.
My favorite. Oh man, there's so many fights in the ether of freaking MMA. I like the watching like old school Pride stuff, when Shoot
Yeah.
Box was doing its thing. Man, there's just so many good fights. Jesus, it's like there's too many good fights. It's like just like you think about it, and you only think of like the fight last this weekend was great with Elvis Brenner and Ribovich, a great
Yeah.
fight, and Mateusz Rambetsky always puts on crazy fights. Like his last one with Orobai was nuts. His one the other day was crazy. Uh, yeah, there's always some amazing fights, and Max Holloway always puts on great fights too. So it's hard to say, but you think about all like the really good fights. You got like Justin Gaethje and uh, what's that guy? See you at the top, Michael Chandler.
Michael Chandler.
Him, Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Max Holloway, like those four guys, like and Charles Oliveira, like that group of dudes, like they always put on crazy fights. So put them up against each other anytime, it's gonna be a wild fight.
Of course. And a favorite fight of your own as well.
Of my own fight,
Yeah.
probably my last
One
one.
that yeah, one that kind of gives good memories, or just one you think
Probably
about a
that
lot.
last one, just because of like all the blood and having to deal with this savvy opponent who was like doing little things in there that only a savvy dude would know, like trash talking while in there, and having is just gaining so much experience from a fight like that. I've never been in a fight that bloody, someone who that wily and a veteran who's doing little things that I didn't experience that in the cage. So anytime I can learn something new in the cage is definitely something. It's a fun time, and it was just a fun fight. Like it was a quick one, but it was a bloody one. It felt like a freaking memorable moment for me.
Yeah, I was thinking, you say a lot of blood, and I'm like, that feels like a bit of an understatement with that fight. The video of the finish in that fight is wild.
Yeah, there was a dude. I was no matter how many showers I took, I'd always find some blood somewhere. I was like, "What the heck's going on?" But yeah, it was awesome, man. It's something that you gotta experience eventually. So it's good to get it out of the way to feel what it's like having to try to hold someone or control someone when they have that much blood on them, and how what the cage feels like. It's like a slip and slide and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a really fun experience, and yeah, hats off to my opponent for making it that.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, you mentioned the slip and slide. That was on one of those shiny canvases, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it
So
was super
it does
slippery.
that must get pretty slippery, yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a time where I kind of like pushed off the cage and I was holding him, and me and him literally slid across on the blood. It was freaking wild.
Yeah, there was a fight in Cage Warriors here in the UK a few years ago. Mark Goddard was the referee. He stopped the fight, just no contest, because there was too much blood and these guys were slipping around everywhere.
Holy
Um,
smokes.
and then I think Cage Warriors got rid of the slippery canvas after that, and they're the UFC style now.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I just couldn't imagine trying to fight when you're also trying to like make sure you've got your foot in.
Yeah, it's wild. It's like fighting in oil or something.
Yeah. Favorite submission to practice
Um, I like the cool stuff that you don't usually get in the cage, like twisters, calf slicers, just cool stuff like that that you never really get in a cage, but it's fun to do on the mats.
Okay. Okay, of course. Funniest person you've met in MMA
Funniest person I've met, uh,
in MMA, yeah.
personally, I mean. personally, a lot of MMA guys, like the humor is very like, locker room frat style
Mm.
humor. But just the people I'm around, like we shoot the shit all the time. We're always bringing each other down a peg, like my teammates and stuff. So just the boys where I train at right now.
Um, Finally, best piece of advice you've been given.
Uh, I realize I'm not good at these like random questions now that
This is
I'm
the
good
last one,
at
don't worry. This is the last
when you
one.
ask me life questions, but then these ones I really got to think about, and I don't want to stall it out here for the interview. Best piece of advice would probably be to, you know, stop trying to force things and kind of let be what will like just let it go kind of thing, like let go trying to force the issue on things, do what you're in control of, take care of the things that you're in control of and let the rest kind of take care of itself. Once I started doing that in life, like everything else kind of just moved out of the way for me, and it's been like a straight path towards my goals. And I attribute a lot of that mindset shift to that kind of advice that I took in, and it's been great ever since. A lot less stress.
Of course, of course. That's a good way to end it on. Thank you for taking the time today, Radley. I'm very excited to see you in the cage in just a few days' time. Finally, give us the hard sell. When yourself and George Mangos step into the cage, UFC Apex Contender Series Week 1, what can the people expect?
They can expect the two best talents from two Commonwealth countries, and may the best Commonwealther win. We're gonna definitely, uh, hopefully, we can live up to the hype that we've been getting. Because right now, I think we're probably the most anticipated fight of the week, at least. And whoever wins definitely deserves to be in the UFC, because we're not taking an easy fight on either side. It's not a mismatch. It's not a give me. It's definitely two of the best guys outside of the UFC going in there and competing for a contract. So it's gonna be fireworks.
Yeah, we need a Commonwealth tournament now. Winner of you two needs to fight an English guy in the debut.
I was literally thinking the same thing the other day. I'm like, man, after this fight, I was actually gonna think about doing a call out. I'm like, I just beat the number one dude in Australia. That was a Commonwealth country. Now give me the next best dude in the UK. Give me what's that dude? I don't know if he's fine. Luke Riley. I like
Nick Riley,
whoever
yeah,
wins here
yeah.
gets Luke Riley. The winner of that gets to call himself King of the Commonwealth. So I was thinking that already. I was literally thinking that just the other day. So yeah, that'd be awesome.
Hey, you and Luke Riley, that's a fight I'd want to see.
Heck yeah, man. UFC debut. Let's do it. UFC Vancouver.
Perfect. I want to thank you for taking the time today, Radley. Yeah, best of luck with the fight.
Thanks, Steve, man. Thanks for having me. We'll chat soon.
Yep, thank you. Bye.
Bye.